The quiet hum of conversation filled the air at Leclerc's, the most prestigious restaurant in Crestwood. The kind of place where millionaires dined under soft chandeliers, where mistakes were not tolerated, and appearances meant everything. That's why when Ethan Caldwell, a 10-year-old boy with stiff leg braces, rose shakily from his chair, the entire restaurant froze. His legs trembled as he took one hesitant step into the small space between the tables. His hand extended towards someone no one expected. He asked Maya Brooks, the restaurant's only black waitress, to dance. The pianist in the corner played a soft, flowing melody, unaware of the unfolding tension. Maya glanced at Ethan's father, Henry Caldwell, a billionaire developer known for his ruthless boardroom victories and emotional distance. Before anyone could react, the restaurant manager stormed toward them. "Sir, control your son. This is highly inappropriate. Our staff does not entertain personal requests." Henry's throat tightened. He had never brought Ethan to a public dinner since the accident that left him partially paralyzed 2 years prior. This night was supposed to be different. "Ethan, sit down." The command was firm but quiet. Maya didn't move. She glanced at the manager, then at Henry, and finally at Ethan, whose outstretched hand trembled in the air. "I'm finishing my shift," she said, removing her apron and folding it neatly on a tray. Then she turned to Ethan, her voice soft. "I can't dance in an apron." The restaurant held its breath. Henry Caldwell stood abruptly. "What do you think you're doing?" "I'm accepting an invitation, sir." The boy's foot dragged painfully across the floor, the metal of his braces screeching with each step. But Maya didn't rush him. She didn't lead. She let him choose the pace. A whisper passed through the room. "She's going to lose her job." Henry Caldwell watched, his mind flashing back to the past. His late wife, dancing with Ethan before the accident. She had once told him, "It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it together." For the first time in years, Ethan wasn't being guided, corrected, or supported. He was leading. "Mr. Caldwell," the manager hissed, "this will never happen again. She will face consequences." But Henry didn't answer. He couldn't take his eyes off his son's smile, the first genuine smile he'd seen since the accident. Maya guided Ethan back to his table after a few careful steps. "Thank you for asking me," she said, as if speaking to an equal. When she turned to leave, Henry spoke. "Wait." His voice sounded unfamiliar, even to himself. "What's your full name?" "Maya Brooks, sir." He slowly pulled a card from his jacket. "My office. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. The restaurant fell into silence once more, as Maya accepted the card without visible emotion, though her fingers trembled slightly. "Dad, why did you do that?" Ethan asked as Maya walked away. The question lingered long after the plates had been cleared. Henry Caldwell's mind replayed his son's smile, the one he almost didn't see because he was too busy controlling everything. The next morning, Maya stood in the polished lobby of Caldwell Enterprises, wearing her best second-hand blazer. She was nervous, but not afraid. When she reached his office, Henry didn't offer pleasantries. "I did some research on you." He placed a folder on the table with documents she hadn't expected anyone to find. "You run a small community project, Rhythm Steps, a dance program for children with disabilities, underfunded, on the verge of closing." Maya stayed quiet. "I want to hire you," he said. "As what? A personal assistant? A tutor?" "No. As someone who can do what I've seen no expert do. I don't need another therapist for my son. I need someone who knows how to let him lead." Maya shook her head. "No." Henry's eyes narrowed. "I'm offering to triple your salary." "It's not about money," Maya said. "I don't work for people who see status before they see people." "Then why did you come?" "Because you invited me." Henry wasn't used to hearing no. Your son doesn't need another specialist, Maya continued. He needs space to find his own way. He needs someone to follow him, not direct him. She left him a simple card before walking out. Rhythm steps. Classes every Tuesday and Friday. First class is free. She wasn't sure he'd show up, but he did. The following week, Henry Caldwell arrived at the modest community center, his son by his side. Ethan walked toward the open dance floor without hesitation. Henry stood by the wall, unsure of his place in this space, where no one cared about wealth or power. Maya approached him quietly. "This isn't a therapy session, Mr. Caldwell. This is his." As Ethan danced, awkwardly, imperfectly, but freely, Henry finally saw what his son had been missing. He didn't need someone to hold him up. He needed someone to let go. Months later, Henry Caldwell's foundation became the primary sponsor of Rhythm Steps, allowing the program to expand to 5 new cities. But Maya never accepted a formal contract to work for him. She only asked for one thing: let Ethan come to class as a student, not as the billionaire's son. Years later, when reporters asked Henry Caldwell about the moment that changed his life, he didn't mention the contracts or the skyscrapers. He simply said, "The day I stopped leading and started following, that's the day everything changed." The next day, Maya Brooks stood at the entrance of Caldwell Enterprises, feeling like a stranger in a city that wasn't built for her. Her best blazer suddenly felt too small, her shoes too worn, her purpose too uncertain. She approached the receptionist. "Maya Brooks, Mr. Caldwell asked me to come." The receptionist's polite smile didn't reach her eyes. 18th floor. Ms. Taylor will take you in." In the glass elevator, Maya steadied her breath. She wasn't afraid. She'd faced tougher rooms. But she wasn't sure why Henry Caldwell had asked her here, or what he wanted. Ms. Taylor met her with the precision of someone who ran on schedules, not feelings. "Follow me." As they passed through corridors lined with marble and high-end art, the stairs followed Maya. A black woman walking confidently through the top floor of Caldwell Enterprises was enough to raise silent questions. "He's not happy, you know," Taylor said suddenly as they approached the office. "Men like him don't like being challenged, especially not in public." "Is that why you think I'm here?" Maya asked calmly. Taylor didn't answer. Inside, Henry Caldwell stood at the window, the Manhattan skyline sprawling beneath him like a personal chessboard. "Ms. Brooks, sit." His tone was clipped, his expression unreadable. There was a long silence. Maya knew it wasn't accidental. It was the kind of silence powerful men use to make people speak too soon. "Do you have a degree?" Caldwell asked abruptly. "Child psychology. Bachelor's. I was pursuing a master's in adaptive movement therapy, but life didn't wait." "Why wait tables?" "Because community dance programs don't pay the rent." Caldwell's fingers drummed on the polished desk. "You co-founded Rhythm Steps, right? For children with mobility challenges." Maya's eyes narrowed slightly. He'd done his research. "Yes, it's a small program. For now." He dropped a folder onto the desk. Inside were pictures of the community center, articles, financial reports, a snapshot of a project barely surviving. "I want to hire you," Caldwell said. "As what?" Maya asked. "A tutor? A caretaker? An employee?" "No. I want you to work with Ethan. What I saw last night, I haven't seen him smile like that in years." Maya didn't flinch. "I didn't do anything special. I just let him lead." "That's exactly why I need you," Caldwell said. His voice softened for the first time. "I've had the best doctors, the best therapists. They've all tried to fix him." "You're still trying to fix him," Maya said. "Maybe he's not broken." Caldwell sat back, the weight of her words landing heavier than he expected. I can pay you 5 times what you make now." "No." The answer landed before he could even finish the offer. "Why?" "Because I don't work for people who see price tags before they see people. And I don't work for people who think dignity is something they can buy." Caldwell's jaw tensed. "You're turning down a life-changing opportunity." "No, I'm choosing a life-changing purpose." She stood, pulling a small card from her purse and placing it on the desk. Rhythm steps. Tuesday and Friday afternoons. First class is free. If you want Ethan to lead his own life, you'll bring him there. If you just want to control him, you won't. She walked to the door, pausing briefly. Your son doesn't need another expert. He needs someone who knows when to step back. When she left, Caldwell remained frozen in his chair. His empire didn't prepare him for this. He didn't come the next week, or the week after. But on the third Friday, Maya looked up from the dance floor and saw him, standing quietly in the corner as Ethan stepped onto the mat, surrounded by children of all abilities moving freely. Caldwell watched, stiff and out of place. His son was laughing, moving at his own rhythm. No one corrected him. No one guided him. And for the first time, no one stopped him. Maya approached quietly. "You don't have to stay," she said. "I'm not leaving," he replied. "You're not used to following, are you?" He didn't answer, but he stayed. Not just that day. He stayed every week. And soon, his foundation wasn't just quietly funding rhythm steps. He was attending board meetings, listening, learning, showing up. When reporters asked about his involvement, Henry Caldwell simply said, "I'm not here to control this. I'm here to follow my son's lead." But for Maya, it wasn't about his money. It was about the moment when power chose to step aside. And the story wasn't finished yet. Months passed. Rhythm steps grew. The community center buzzed with energy. More children arrived every week, some in wheelchairs, some with braces, some with trembling hands. Each one found their own rhythm. Each one led in their own way. And Henry Caldwell kept showing up. He wasn't giving orders. He wasn't giving speeches. He was simply present. Ethan thrived. He no longer hesitated before stepping onto the dance floor. His movements, though not perfect, carried purpose. He laughed more. He pushed boundaries. He no longer asked for permission to try. One afternoon, Maya approached Henry as he watched his son from the back of the room. "You don't need to be here every time," she said. "I'm not here for him anymore," Henry replied quietly. "I'm here for me." The following month, the city hosted a charity gala. Rhythm Steps was invited to present their work. Maya didn't want to attend. She wasn't interested in polished speeches or polite applause. But Ethan insisted. "It's time people see what we do." Henry Caldwell personally arranged for the venue. But this time, he didn't plan to stand on the stage. The night of the gala, the room shimmered with power and influence. Reporters gathered. Philanthropists mingled. But the story no one expected was unfolding quietly in the corner. Ethan was preparing to dance, without music, without guidance, without correction. As the lights dimmed, the crowd hushed. Maya stepped forward, but she didn't take the microphone. She turned to Henry, who sat near the back. "Your son should introduce this." Henry's throat tightened. "He's ready." Ethan took the stage. "My name is Ethan Caldwell," he began. "For a long time, I thought my legs would always decide what I could do, that people like me were supposed to be helped, not followed. But I learned something different here." The crowd leaned in, silent. "Sometimes, the best thing you can do for someone like me is let us lead." He stepped back. No music played. No one rushed to cue a soundtrack. Ethan began moving. His steps were imperfect. His rhythm was his own. But no one in the room cared. Maya watched him with quiet pride. Henry Caldwell's chest ached, not from sadness, but from something he couldn't name, something like freedom. When the dance ended, the applause was immediate. But Ethan didn't look at the crowd. He looked at his father. For the first time, Henry Caldwell didn't see a fragile boy. He saw his son. A reporter approached. "Mr. Caldwell, can you comment on your foundation's decision to fully fund Rhythm Steps?" Henry looked past the cameras to Maya, then to Ethan. "The best investments," he said, "are the ones where you stop trying to control the outcome." "And what's the biggest lesson you've learned from this program?" "That leadership isn't always about taking the first step. Sometimes, it's about having the courage to follow." He turned to Maya. "Thank you," he said softly. "Not for saving him, for letting him save himself." In the months that followed, Rhythm Steps expanded to 5 cities. Ethan became a peer mentor for other children who had been told they couldn't lead. And Henry Caldwell? He became the man who was finally known for something more than his wealth. When Maya was later asked how she had convinced one of the most powerful men in the city to follow her lead, she simply smiled. "I didn't convince him. I just said yes to a dance."